see who can be the loudest tonight.
It's always
We
a
should take a poll
competition.
at the end.
It's always a competition. All right. Is it showing up yet? I have to go to my channel. I feel like no matter how many times I do this, I'm always bad at it. And I've got my Cobra
Look
Commander.
like one of those drones in Ready Player One.
Oh, I do see a live prepper trifecta. That's good.
All right, good. I'm wearing my Cobra Commander mask in honor of Che not having a camera set up, so he's blacked out. So I too will be blacked out. Although I'm probably going to take this off in like 30 seconds.
Is it hot?
I can't see quite as well. And although my breath is minty and fresh, it might interfere with the mic too.
Dude, you know what? You just gave me a great idea.
What's up? Also, my hair is ridiculous.
If you've got it's a situation where you're maybe trying to sneak somebody into a new location, you don't want them to know, you could disable part of their senses very easily. Just put duct tape on the inside of that mask. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, it'd be like a sensory deprivation hood or something.
Yeah.
Like if you got to take them to your secret hideout, you don't want to know where you're going.
Formal introduction, ladies and gentlemen. Prepper Trifecta, episode number
100. Always.
There you go. You can visit us at preppertrifecta.com for a countdown every week when we decide to have shows. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Just trying to navigate the increasing likelihood of crazy stuff happening. I was just actually had a short, quick live stream that I did with Morgan from Road Preparedness a week or so ago. And we were talking about that, how like it's so weird to see that, like, I've been on YouTube for my first YouTube video, I think it was 2009. Been talking about prepping ever since then. It's like 13 years or something crazy. But and the whole time, like, we're all the prepping channels are talking about stuff that could happen, like this could happen, you know, if this happened. But like the last year or so, like everyone's talking about what they think is going to happen, which is kind of crazy. You know, like it's never felt before like something is as imminent, and not necessarily anything in particular. Like there's any number of things that could happen, but it feels like something is going to happen within the next few months.
It always seems that case. I know a lot of people have been predicting stuff ever since this stuff started happening the last couple of years, but it almost seems that we're on the cusp that it's about to fall. And you know, I've got friends that have been prepping for 40, 50 years, and they say they feel, you know, it's close, but this is the closest it's ever been.
Yeah. Exactly.
What closest to, and what's the consensus that you guys are getting from other people in your circles in terms of, like, is this Agenda 21 implementation, some sort of false narrative with respect to monkeypox?
I definitely think
financial collapse.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it seems like all of the above, you know what I mean? Like there's any number of these things. It could be like something that happens. Like we have all the crazy stuff that's going on in the food supply and just supply chain stuff in general, everything that's going on with international relations, World War III, new reserve currency with the BRIC nations, the stuff with monkeypox, which I think is bullshit. And then all the normal financial collapse type stuff that's picking up speed really quickly, recession, everything is all at once. And who knows which of those is going to pop up to be a problem first. I definitely don't think it's monkeypox. And it's funny because, like, you see people come out, and we got some of this when we were talking about COVID early on, and being like, oh, it's just another thing. Like first it was Ebola, and like we never thought Ebola was going to be a big deal. And for the same reason, I don't think monkeypox is going to be a big deal because it doesn't spread that easily. And COVID was different because it could spread so easily.
I don't know. I think it's going to be economic collapse. Personally, I think it's going to be food shortages. When both, Biden and Trudeau say it, hey, no, listen, they could be just fucking with us all, but you know, it's something that I think it's going to happen. Like, and when I say food shortage, I don't mean, that it's going to be like Russia in the 80s when there's like 4 boxes of shit on the shelves. It's going to be so high to buy food.
Yeah.
That the food shortage is going to be, you know, the single mom that's working 4 jobs is going to be able to put enough food on the table for, all their kids.
Exactly. And that's what people don't realize is that just food being like whether or not the country as a whole is producing X amount of food or not is only one part of it. Like the system's so complex that like the most of this food that you get is grown out of your state and maybe even out of your region. So there's so many elements that could go awry for the food not to get to where you're at, or for it to just be way more expensive. Or, like they might be growing the potatoes, but they have to have certain machines to process it, to bag it up, to transport it. And to transport it now, the trucks and all that has to be working properly. Like all these things have to be working well for the stuff to be running smoothly. So even like choppy supply chains and weird problems with seemingly unrelated technologies and supply chains could cause food prices to be super expensive or for stuff to be unavailable. And even though we do make a lot of food here, people don't realize that we still import like 20% of what Americans eat is still imported.
And you know what? If I remember somebody on TikTok probably about 6-7 months ago was saying, "Oh yeah, they're gonna get rid of meat and we're gonna be eating insects," and
Yeah.
now all these cricket processing plants. I don't know if you guys are getting it down in the States, but we have one.
I saw that one, and yeah, that's the one that's been making the headlines. Is they're like, we can make all these cricket. I'm like, what?
We can make 1 billion crickets a day. I'm like, why would you need 1 billion crickets a day? Like, I don't know.
Where did this all of a sudden become a thing? Like,
yeah,
where are these crickets going? These billion crickets? Who's buying these? And there was just a huge untapped market for crickets.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you see these ads. It's like, oh, hey, chocolate covered crickets, delicious. It's like, well, why are we seeing ads for this all of a sudden? Are they going to replace?
Funny. This is going to screw up my algorithm because Google's listening, and I'm going to start seeing chocolate-covered cricket ads.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't. Jokes on them because I don't like chocolate.
Well, here's my certainly co-sign with everything both of you guys said, especially with what you pointed out, Eric, in terms of it's inevitable. There's all these interdependent sort of systems that certainly could cause something, but. What was I going to say? I think it could be meat escalate to different classes. So we may have a class where a class of people will be able to afford beef as their protein source or chicken, and then there'll be another subclass or lower class that's just it's you got to have your cricket burger or whatever it is, right?
Exactly.
Or mealworm burger.
Yeah. And that's something that I think a lot of people miss. Like some of these people that are in really big into the conspiracy side of it, where they're think everything is super coordinated and they're trying to transform everything, is they forget that like, even if that were true, which I don't necessarily think it's true to that extent to where it's all controlled. I do think there's agendas at play here, but these people still have to use one of these systems too. And they don't want to eat the bugs. They just want to make it expensive. You know what I mean? So that they're the only ones who can do it. Like even in Soylent Green movie, the rich guy had like a steak in his fridge, and the cop was like, "Oh my God, real beef," and then stole it and everything. Like they don't want to eat the bugs; they just want to make it like change everything from small farms to big control, like centralized stuff that they own, that they control, and make it really expensive to do.
Point in question. Eating the steak. What was that movie with who's that Captain America, and then he was the fire dude in Fantastic Four.
Chris Evans.
He was in a movie. He was on a train.
Oh yeah, Snowpiercer.
Train. There you go. And what was he eating at the first part of the train? They were eating
sludge.
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, sludge. They were eating like sludge bars that they eventually found out were made from insects.
And then they got to the front, and what was
It was like sushi and the chicken eggs and all the other stuff.
Yeah, steak. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
I think I'd probably eat a vegan before I started going with crickets.
Right.
I don't know if that's where we're going to be going, but I'm saying it right now. If the crickets are happening, because vegans, right? They just eat grass like
cows are vegans, right?
Well, exactly, and they're delicious. So it's one of those things. I guess only time will tell, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. But
yeah, I'm not one of those who has some moral aversion to eating insects in any random scenario, but the push for it is so bizarre. Specifically, like them pushing so hard for insects.
It's funny
really
though, because they try to make I don't watch a lot of TV. I try not to listen to the radio because all these ads that are out there are pushed by. But anyway, they're trying to make things normal. Like, oh yeah, have a cricket burger. It's delicious. Or, they're talking about
They're talking about cannibalism now. Have you seen that? They're like talking about how that could be a thing in the future, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Wow, cannibalism.
Yeah, like
I
I forget the article, like what news media did it, but it was so like ridiculous.
but it's
Let me try to find it.
It's the media's narrative to try to push these things and then
Yeah,
to
here
make it.
well, this was an older one, but it was one of them. Where is it?
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
New York
It's crazy.
Times, a taste for cannibalism. It's like weird shit, and I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing?
Well, and it's just how they're trying to make kids having heart attacks or cardiac
Oh
arrest
yeah, and they're
normal
saying
all of
like
a
it's
sudden.
now it's normal for kids to have strokes, and I'm like hell it is. I mean, it may be normal because that's just happening a lot. So in the literal sense of the word, it's normalized, but like this isn't natural.
Yeah, it's just
Like they're
it
dropping
blows my
like
mind.
flies. Like died suddenly is now a official cause of death for them to put in obituaries and stuff. They're like, oh, 43 years old died suddenly. 35-year-old died suddenly.
It's odd. In Alberta here, we have the most leading cause of death is unknown.
Yeah.
But every single one of them were vaccinated. So
Yeah,
I guess
of course.
I got something to look forward to next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it definitely doesn't seem to be getting everybody, luckily. But it's definitely spiking in areas where, and certainly if like the people who continue to get all the boosters and stuff seems to be worse. There was one, I just read an article about some hospital system where they just mandated like the 4th booster, and like 3 of their doctors died within like 3 days of each other, and they're in their like 30s and 40s. It's wild.
It's I think that I really honestly think something's up with the jab. I think basically this is my prediction. I think the jab is if you had any problems with you, it makes it.
Well, it's just weakening your immune system, it seems like. So people who had cancers, it was like recurring. Or if you had, like you said, if you had a weakness to like heart issues, it's going to magnify that. So,
I had tinnitus, and it's ever since my second shot, the tinnitus hasn't stopped. Like after a while, it'd go away a little bit, and it's crazy. But my dad, he got his 4th booster because he believes in the narrative, but and now he's laying in bed because his arthritis is so bad he can't.
Right. Yeah, it causes tons of like inflammation and just weakens your immune system, and that's why like they're even talking about these weird resurgences of shingles, which is normally it's shingles. For those of you who don't know, is the chickenpox virus that just stays in your body, but it's kind of like defeated until normally later in life, like when you're 70s and 80s and your immune system gets weaker, then it can like resurge and cause shingles. But now it's happening in like younger people because this is weakening their immune system.
I just find it funny because people are still, they think that this vaccine is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Insane.
It just blows my mind, man. It's
wild. And now they're trying to do it again with the monkeypox, for something that like you predominantly is almost exclusively from like in the gay population. And even if it's not, it's from like extended close contact. Like you have to be like wrestling someone or basically to get it, like herpes or something. It's something that's incredibly easy to avoid. So acting like this is going to be a major issue is stupid and bizarre.
I guarantee you they're going to come up sometime in September with something new. And you know what? I bet you're going to go lock down again. I don't know, probably in Canada because, a lot of us are a bunch of fucking idiots out here. So
unfortunately,
it's
I don't see that happening widespread in the US. I mean, like they could get away with it in San Francisco and New York City, but other than that, everyone's fed up with it, and I don't think more lockdowns will happen.
It's crazy. Trudeau the other day was talking about how you have to be masked up on a plane and a train. And then he did a photo shoot on a train in, I believe it was Ontario, no mask.
Yeah, of course. They're such hypocrites.
Fucking dummy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Actually, one thing, I found a screenshot. I'm going to pull it up here.
Okay. You should be able to share screen.
Let me see if I can share it to the
should be authorized here. Just remember to close all your gay porn tabs.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Me and Shay last camping up north for
the Brokeback camping trip.
Yeah, we're
at that time we DP'd that girl,
yeah, that girl being you.
He felt pretty that day. 2022. He can be the girl if he wants.
Oh, those guys with the beards up there, they get real lonely. That's why I don't have a beard. And I'm not up north.
Yeah, like I
My
said,
MAGA hat in the
according to me,
basement.
you guys are all up north.
So I just shared it to our group there.
Oh, just on Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just you'll see it, but basically, local governments ban natural gas. Goodbye to the gas range and cheaper heat.
It's
And
insane.
apparently, it's Los Angeles, and but the ban is happening July 1st, 2023. Like, okay,
Yeah, I
so
mean, it's getting really hard to argue with the people who think that this is being done on purpose. I got to admit, you know what I mean? Like
well,
the level to which this is just, I don't think this level of myopathy and like just idiocy is possible. It's got to be malicious. You know what I mean? Like the way they like Sri Lanka and these other countries like shut down, they'll just ban their fertilizers, their synthetic fertilizers without even looking to see how they're going to make food otherwise. And same thing
Right.
in the Netherlands and now this and just like Germany, like banning the nuclear power and then running out of power. So then having to go back to coal. It's like, oh my God. And then the cricket plant, like it's crazy stuff, man.
it's
We're living in a like an altered like
Yeah,
weird
bizarro
reality
world.
right now. And take Netherlands for example. It's because we are talking about food previously. And if you guys don't mind if I interject or segue
No.
into this,
Go for it.
I'm like really confused at what's going on here. Their government is basically doing what they can to eliminate farming in their
Yeah.
own country.
Well, from what I can tell, so I looked into this because it was so bizarre. So Netherlands is actually one of the biggest, I think it's the second biggest in the world behind the US in terms of agricultural exports. So they produce a huge amount of food. And what it looks like is that there's a bunch of land that they want to make these like weird housing developments, like fucking Mega City 1, like Judge Dredd style shit. And they're literally like just made up rules that make it impossible to farm. So then they're like, but don't worry, we'll buy the farmland from you at fair price. So we're not ruining you, eminent domain type stuff. And then they're just going to try to turn it into these massive, like weird Euro New World Order development type things. So like dense housing stuff, but with no thought to like, or even worse, with thought to how this is devastating the food production for the whole entire world.
I don't get it.
I guess that's why I'm like, we'll just move to crickets.
There's two crises that are inevitable for mankind in the next 50 years, in my estimation, and one of them is we're entering a food crisis. The populations are just going to get massive in the next.
Yeah, but it's so
decade.
weird because so much of it is by choice and not because we're maxed out in what the world could produce. We're not even close in terms of like if everyone in the world was a hive mind and just dedicated to like food production, we could easily feed 3 or 4 times the current population. But it's just the choices that are being made like this, and the fact that a huge amount, like 40% of the food produced in the U.S. has ended up just thrown away, wasted, stuff like that. Yeah, and then all the resources that are put into just non-food related agriculture, like yards and landscaping. That if everyone who had a yard, instead of putting all that work into grass, just actually grew anything, there'd be way more food.
I'm all over it, dude. I've got a garden here.
Good.
And it's a lot of work. People think, oh, just get some seeds, throw them in the ground. No,
Yeah.
There's a lot of complexity behind it. The quality of your soil.
Absolutely.
And
I'd say the biggest thing to make it easier would be to go for stuff that grows naturally in your area, like more in your area. Trying to grow out of zone stuff, you certainly can do it, sure. But that's always going to take more resources, more soil amendment, more just messing with it. If you're in an area that has any type of edible foods that grow there naturally, and most places do, then growing those things are going to be a lot easier than trying to grow stuff that doesn't normally grow in that kind of environment.
Sure, absolutely.
And I would say focus up for one thing that I see a lot of people mess up is they grow like, it's different if you're just trying to grow for other reasons, but if you're growing stuff for preparedness purposes, grow stuff that has like dense caloric value. Like you could grow an entire field of kale, like 10 acres, and that's not going to sustain you for a day.
Yep.
Whereas like a few potato plants or like one fruit tree, like one apple tree will make like 300 or 400 pounds of apples every year, which has actual calories in it, or like an acre of potatoes versus like and then certainly like grains are hard to grow in a lot of areas and they take a lot of processing. Like really, you're not going to grow like a field of wheat. you know, and then
Tried it. I tried growing some wheat, and
I mean, you can grow it, but like unless you're in like Iowa or something, you're probably gonna have to do a lot of more work, and then you have to do all the processing and grinding it
it's
and all this
retarded.
stuff.
Exactly, because just take that example, because that would be a great barter item, bread, fresh bread in the apocalypse. But I grew some, and I've got the mill grinder, and you know, you go through this process of making flour from it, and it's like retarded how much energy and calories you're burning to get this couple of cups of flour.
Right. So just grow some potatoes or
yeah, no kidding. But not very practical, or not very in the bigger picture of things. No, it's not going to be, just throw some seeds in the ground, you'll be good. No, there's a whole science and education in that realm in and of itself, including the wild edible aspect. A
lot to learn
as well. A lot to learn, exactly.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like if you're in a place where you can do it, more reason to start now, because you're not just going to be able to do this. Similar to the people who are like, oh, I'll just go hunting when shit hits the fan. If you're just like, oh, I'll just start farming because I got some land, like good luck, man.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you don't know, or what you need, and all this stuff.
Well, it's just incompetence.
Exactly.
It's just like everybody out there that I did a TikTok video the other day in reference to, everyone throws a striker in their bug out bag for to build fire, and I'm like, have you ever tried to build fire with that? And if you need a fire and you're cold, you're wet, you're tired, you have to use that for food, and it's wintertime and you're there, I just like buy a couple lighters from the dollar store, put it in a Ziploc bag, and have that striker for a backup, but actually go out and try using that striker.
I mean, if you're not, it's a whole other story. If you're not experienced in making fires like fairly frequently, even using a lighter, I've seen people try for like a fucking hour to start a fire with a lighter.
Yeah,
so it's not like it's a gimme. Like it's usually always the same issue, and it's they try to light something that's much too big.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like they're just starting with sticks that are way too big, so it's not going to work. But even that, if you don't do it often, it's not going to even be easy with a lighter, and then let alone with a spark. You have to find an appropriate type of tinder, and then set up your firewall so you can get the little flame of the tinder into your fire structure. Like it's not a gimme for sure.
Oh, you know what? I think that'd be a good reality TV show where it's pretty much, I know they got all these different ones out there, but it's like, start a fire in 45 seconds. Here's your flint, or I'm going to punch you in the face. It's like,
Well, it's funny because I always like to make fires. I was a pyro. And, but my grandfather would always be like, well, you only get one match. You can start a fire, but you only if you can start it with one match. So I had to learn to actually get it done with one match, which is not that hard if you know what you're doing.
Well, exactly.
But it does take some practice to know how to do it.
If you have the tools with you, like a striker's great, but you should have some. Yeah, you should have some lint. You should have some. Some dry grass with you, or dry grass. Dried.
Birch
tinder.
Bark.
Birch bark is great.
Sap is good. Vaseline and cotton. You can use the Pringles chips. Certain types of chips are oily.
You can even bring like just a little piece of fat wood and stuff if you need to.
Exactly. There's multiple options, but and it's funny you mentioned the fire starting too, because I had the preppers meet there a couple of weeks ago, and one of the events they did was a cold water immersion. Got bags of ice and filled this 1,000-liter tote that I previously made a hot tub from a couple of years ago.
Right.
And dump in, and then we just talked about the process of hypothermia and blah blah blah, and had other people go in as well. And then the challenge was, once you get out, start your fire. In these sort of frigid these conditions. Mind you, it's summertime, but it was freezing in the tote, and people don't understand. Like, this is a necessity of life. It's very important to know how to start a fire. You need warmth. Warm-blooded human beings, and it gets pretty fucking cold at night.
Yeah. One little tip too, which is kind of related, but a good thing to include that I like to include in like a fire kit is some kind of small candle. Because if you're starting by other types of means other than a lighter, as soon as you get, like, normally people would spark the tinder and then you'd have to either do it in the structure already or try to move that in and push it into the fire. So if you can use the first flame you get to just really quickly light the candle, then you're good for, you can hold that under or move it around. And actually, sometimes it's even harder to hold a lighter in the right spot without burning yourself if it's not like a grill lighter. So sometimes a small, thin candle, either a birthday candle or like one of those church candles.
Tea lights, those things you get at the dollar store, 500 for, $6.
Yeah. And you can just like sit it there. And now as soon as you get a flame, that'll light really, really quick. And then you can not be on the clock so much in terms of trying to get that fire started immediately.
Right. It's, it's funny. It's even myself, like one of these times I'm going to go out with my bug out bag, and even if we're out doing this kind of podcast, if I got a good signal, I, set my phone up and just pretty much, all right, well, I need shelter. Let's, I have this for shelter. Let's set something up. And, it's okay. I need a fire. Hopefully I don't burn down wherever I'm at. How am I going to do this fire without, screwing things up too badly? Oh, I got to eat now,
Right.
Hopefully in that hour, while you and Shay are talking, I'm in the back, cursing and swearing and, smashing my thumb with, my, what I thought I needed for, a hammer or whatever. But I think it'd be really kind of interesting to kind of just take that stuff out for that hour that we're doing it. It's, might be something interesting. And it also gives the people watching us an idea that, we're not a bunch of, idiots just talking in YouTube.
Speak for yourself.
Well, exactly.
I might be an idiot speaking into YouTube.
Yeah, so maybe we'll all be different videos cursing and swearing for a whole hour. You pull out your bug out bag and it's just like, well, you pull out
God damn it.
I didn't need this fucking shit. I walked all this way.
Those people who don't have to put up with this shit.
Kicking your phone and podcast is over, motherfuckers.
And then getting your girlfriend to hold the flashlight still, god damn it, while you're trying to start the fire.
I said still.
Yeah.
But,
have you ever read the Jack London story To Build a Fire?
No, never.
Oh, so it's a guy, I think it's the same guy who wrote like Call of the Wild, right? But he has this short story about this guy who's like it might be in the Canadian wilderness or somewhere, but somewhere bitterly cold. And I think he falls in the water or something, but he gets all like drenched. So he's freezing and it's super, super cold, well below freezing. So he has to like desperately start this fire and he like barely makes it. And it's like his hands are so frozen that he can't even feel. And the flames are like burning him and he can smell it, but he has to hold it in there to get the fire started. And he barely does it. And he's like, oh my God, my life might be saved. And this fire is just starting to go. And then a big clump of snow falls from the tree, snuffs it out. And he's like, oh, it goes crazy. And then eventually dies.
Brutal.
Yeah. It's a pretty brutal, but realistic short story.
Oh man. I'll have to check that. Maybe you'll just post the
called,
video later.
Well, it's just a short story. I don't know if there's a video. It's
okay. You have to read it.
It's old. Yeah. So it's called To Build a Fire by Jack London.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like Poe-like, and it's like Edgar Allan Poe style story.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's funny. We always try to say the best things to go out and do, and it's just like, I keep going back to this story when I was teaching that radio thing last year with Shay. It's like, all right, who has a bug out bag? And of course, everyone's all proud. Their hand goes up. I'm like, all right, who's looked at their bug out bag in the last 6 months? Half the hands go up. I'm like, okay, who's tried to live out of their bug out bag? And, it's like nobody. It's like, wow, come on, guys.
I can honestly say I've never done like a bug out bag exclusive like trip, but there's a lot of overlap, between all the stuff that I would take camping and what's in my bug out bag. It's
definitely
stuff, but yeah.
But it'd be kind of
exercise.
a neat thing to just kind of go out and try. It's like, and I find a lot of people pack stuff in their bug out bag. I was helping a group of 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm like, all right, bring your bug out bag, we're going for a walk. And it's we all lined up and we started marching out to this one little camp spot. And I look behind and there's just one guy way back there, and just like, I'm like, all right, you guys go ahead. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I got stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's take a look. And he had 3 different axes, and it's like he had a
80-pound pack or something.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck you got all this shit for? Like, well, if this breaks, and I'm like, buddy,
it's like, you're gonna break, sir.
Yeah, it's a bug out bag isn't. It's not like the military where you live out of your backpack for
Yeah.
and you technically you don't live out of your backpack. It's
Right.
a bug out bag is supposed to get you to your bug out location where all your shit's at. So, you have a couple rations in there, you have shelter for the night, something to keep you warm. You know, I just don't think a bug out bag should be 40, 50, 60 pounds because you're going to your location.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that it depends on what, because everyone has a different definition of bugging out, and some people use that to cover like an inch bag. I'm never coming home, or just anything that like I have to be ready in case I have to leave this spot because of a nuke or whatever, and I don't know exactly where I'm going or when I'm going to get resupplied. So there's
Right.
there's different ways to look at it, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to make your bag 50, 60 pounds, you better know that you can handle that. Because I've had to ruck with they give us a sandbag and then they sprayed it with water to make it fucking heavy, and then you're like packs it cutting into your shoulders, and you have to march forward like this so you can even stand up.
Oh, it's terrible. I made the mistake of a young soldier filling up 3 ammo cans full of sand and just putting it into my ruck, and it was just like 95 pounds.
Oh,
and it was
yeah,
just
it's
like
brutal.
halfway through the ruck.
Yeah.
Oh,
we would do there was this thing that I did in RTC called Ranger Challenge. It was like a competition group, and we'd do all these events. And one of them was 10K ruck march, and you had a specific packing list, so everyone's ruck was the same, and it was supposed to be 30 pounds. And like that feels like nothing when you first throw it on. You're like, 30 pounds, this is nothing, you know what I mean? But when you're like, we'd literally run the 6 miles then. And like by the end of it's because you have to carry like the rubber duckies, so it's like the weight of a full M16, and you have your boots on and everything. And like it gets brutal by the end of it.
Yeah. Fuck that.
You just want to get that thing off you. So if it's like 60, 70 pounds, like you better have an alternate plan, like a game cart of some kind or something like that.
Oh, yeah. It's yeah, exactly. There's so many cool things out there that you could actually put, and if things start getting heavy, maybe if you're driving to your bug out location and something happens to your vehicle, well, then you can start stashing stuff to your bug out location, like
cash along the way.
Yeah, definitely some ammo, maybe a firearm, some food, so you're not looking like a target when you're walking there, but with a little bit of luck.
You don't look like a gypsy caravan with like pots and stuff hanging on, like one of those Elmer Fudd prospector where he's got everything and there's a pickaxe like tied to the big huge.
It's crazy. But I'm always telling people, I'm like, go out, do what you can do, and check it out. So when you actually go out and you're like carrying 20 pounds of shit that you don't need, you actually get to figure out. It's like, oh,
well, you'll know too. You will be if you have to ditch stuff, you'll be able to know right away like how to rank it in terms of like, I know I need this third axe, I probably don't need, you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
And you won't accidentally dump something that you could end up needing.
Right.
Because it'll change depending on the situation too. Like maybe you are going to a specific place and it's only going to take you a week to get there, or maybe you don't have a specific place, and so then you can use and keep different things. You
hope for the best.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe your bug out location's been
maybe that was nuked. Yeah.
Yeah. So shit. Now all my stuff is in one spot, but
right.
I don't know. It's one of those things. There's just so much stuff out there that people just don't try. I bet you half the shit in this room I don't even need.
Yeah.
It
depends on the scenario and the length of time. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we have is dedicated to if something was bad enough, then it lasted a long time.
Right. Hopefully a little bit of luck. I'll never have to crack any of this stuff open, but
that would be the nice.
But hey,
best outcome.
If the cricket souffle is happening, it's not. They'll be cracking into the food there. But you know what? It's funny. I've had these Rice Krispie squares for I think it's going on 3 years. My wife's like, you gotta throw those out. They're expired. I'm gonna eat one in front of everybody, and we're gonna see how much of a shit show it is. So 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm gonna.
Okay.
Cool, man. I cut out there for a second. You guys were talking about bug out bags, and I listen.
Yeah.
I can't overemphasize weight. Ounces weighed to pounds, and people don't get it. Even professionals don't get it. Like for the public or audience listening to us, don't listen to us. Like, just go out yourself. Listen to what your body tells you after a day of hiking in the woods. And simple things, like even with a rifle on your shoulder with a strap,
Right.
that's digging into your shoulder the whole time, it can certainly make a difference.
Oh yeah, like little bits of discomfort like that, which when you're standing there in your living room, it's totally different when you're 20 miles in.
Yeah, I had a bug out some years ago and had a huge amount of weight, 60 pounds, and it's extremely difficult. I think there's certainly a disconnect socially with people that think, oh, I'll just get a bag, or I'll just hunt a deer,
right?
Shoot the deer, and that'll feed us for the year.
Yeah, but then you don't even think like, do you have the ability to store a year's worth of deer meat to where it's not going to rot, or even process a deer, like the tools to butcher a large animal like that?
Yeah, and I certainly don't want to, come down on anybody that has these sorts of plans in place. It's certainly good that you're thinking this way, but
they're doable. You just got to make sure you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, better to, like, going back to what Dan was saying. It's great. You got a ferro rod, use it. Develop more of the skill and knowledge set. Great. You can purchase products. You're a prepper. You purchased items. Cool. Let's look at the other half. Skills. So anyways, Dan, I see you're back here. You're going to show something?
We got some Rice Krispie treats. What do you got there?
So it expired back in April of 2020. And you know what? It's 2 years old. The wrapper was still like it wasn't there was still air in it, so it's I don't know what, it wasn't too bad. It's
Did you get the runs?
Well, I just ate it.
Oh, you can eat it right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just ate it. Yeah.
That was what he just ate. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I wasn't watching the screen. I didn't know. I missed part of the conversation. So you had what was the purpose? You had a chocolate bar or Rice Krispies?
He was just hungry. He just can't go an hour without eating.
Well, no, it's just about.
It wasn't
just making excuses. I think I should test out some prepper food.
Wasting away to nothing. No,
I'm gonna sample 4 Mountain House meals.
Yeah, next week it'll be O. Henry chocolate bars.
Yeah, it'll be Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
but
no, segments every week.
Cooking with Dan, survival cooking with Dan.
Eating junk food with Dan.
Right.
Today
we're gonna see if Doritos Locos Tacos is good for after the apocalypse.
Well, we need an update next. We have to make a segment next week. And did you get diarrhea from the Rice Krispie Square?
Yeah, right.
Find out.
You know what,
folks?
Did you get constipated for 4 days?
Maybe that's something we'll do. We'll every episode I'll eat something from my kit, and we'll see. Well, I've had these cans of beans for 3 years.
I have a video an old video. I don't know if it's even still up, where I ate an 8-year-old can of beans, 8 years expired of baked beans, and it was. I don't think I would have noticed if you had just not told me it was 8 years expired.
Wow.
Okay.
Did it have a nice pop when you opened up the can of beans?
This is a normal can, yeah. So nothing was different about it.
Okay. I got a story for you, gentlemen. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right.
A gentleman named Bruce Beach. I think I've told you this before, Eric, but it's certainly worth mentioning again. Yeah, it's a gentleman named Bruce Beach, retired radiologist.
Wait, he's the guy that built the buses underground, right?
Yeah, no longer with us, unfortunately.
Yes.
And 42 school buses underground.
Yeah.
The biggest private bunker in Canada. I think you guys have a few bigger ones in there in America. Anyways, nice guy, but maybe a little bit disconnected from reality. So as an example, no pressure canning, no preservation method at all. He had one of those 1 liter bottles of V8.
Yes, and it was like black.
That's right. Usually it's red, and it was like it wasn't it wasn't preserved, wasn't in the fridge. It was just sitting on the shelf, like that you would get from the grocery store. Like you purchase it from the grocery store, and they put it on the shelf, and it was 10 years later, and it was solid black.
Ugh.
And he drank it.
Yeah, he drank it.
And he drank the whole thing.
Chugged it. Just slams it like a boss.
Wow.
It's like the Captain
Champ.
Ron. Well, if anything's gonna happen, it's gonna happen out there. Just drink, not like sample the
team.
Have you ever read? Because I used to read all these wilderness survival books, and one of the things they always mentioned was like the food test, where if you don't know a plant is edible, you're supposed to like smell it first. Does it burn? Like rub it on your skin. Then if that doesn't happen in 30 minutes, rub it on your lips. And then 30 minutes, nothing. Chew a little bit and spit it out. And then if you don't get tingling, then swallow a portion. Then wait a day and eat a little bit. And like, he's like, nope, just downs it. He probably was like pure botulism and just
Jesus.
Black V8.
It'd be very interesting.
It's like it's like Modelo Negro. It's like V8 Negro.
Yeah. Or it's cricket. It's cricket V8.
Cricket paste. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, man. But it'd be interesting to try. When they say the shelf life of rations are 30 years, it'd be interesting to try and get one that's it's been sitting on the shelf for 29 years and then just kind of wolf her down on what I do for the followers, right?
Yeah, what we do. Have you seen there's some of these MRE channels that they're not strictly speaking prepping related at all. It's a weird category of YouTube where the guy like is really as a hobby is super into like military food rations from all different eras, and he always like eats them. So he eats these like mega old like MRE like 50 years old and shit, and he'll like eat them, and if it doesn't look like it's totally spoiled, if it looks normal. And so he's eating stuff that's like decades old, and the guy's still alive.
Yeah,
millions of followers.
Dude, does he smoke the cigarettes at the end?
That would be awesome. From like the C Rash. I don't know. There's a bunch of these channels now. The big one is like Steve MRE or something like that.
Whole thing. Yeah, they used to in the rations used to come with cigarettes.
Right. So he would actually smoke them.
Yeah. It must be the same guy. That's his only gig. That's all he does. Is just eat these expired
MREs. Yeah. America's so glorious. You can make a living just eating expired MREs. Probably makes more than someone who's in the actual army.
Yeah,
there's doctors out there saving lives,
probably,
and this guy probably makes more eating old ass MREs and smoking. This isn't real. This fucking shit isn't real. We're definitely in a simulation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, didn't they do the 2012 Mandela effect, and then I guess they started up the
Oh, have you seen that meme? Oh my God, the Mandela effect. You've heard about like the Berenstein Bears thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, so then they had like they were supposed to use CERN at like the most powerful, and everyone was worried about it like causing rifts in space time. So then when that came and went, I saw a meme that was like, well, now that the CERN test, luckily nothing happened. We can get back to talking about the Berenstain Bears. Like they changed it again. Berenstain, what the fuck?
The Berenstain Bear.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The Berenstain.
There's three of them, wasn't there?
No,
there's only one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Do you remember that Simpsons episode? Reminds me of that when Homer's jumping through time. And he ends up in one reality where it's
and it crushes a blade of the donuts. They're like, oh my God, it's raining, and something was different where he got scared and left, and then as soon as he left, the donuts started raining. Oh, because they were like, what's donuts? They'd never heard of donuts, so he was like, oh, I gotta get out of here. And then once he leaves, they're like, oh look, it's raining again, and donuts are falling.
So just a question here, Gregory Thomas. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad, but about how many you could hit 8 to 10 shots with a pistol at 45 yards.
Yeah, so that was for those of you who don't know, I don't know if you guys have heard about this. There was an attempted mass shooting at a mall in Indiana, and it was another one of these skinny pencil-necked Omega weirdos on too many SSRIs or whatever decided he was going to shoot a place up. So he was there with the AR-15 and a couple extra mags. He came out of the bathroom where he had like put it all together out of his bag, shot like 3 people right away. Within 15 seconds of his first shot, this 22-year-old kid who was 40 yards away in the food court drew on him with the Glock 9mm and hit him 8 out of 10 times at 45 yards. Fucked his shit up. So it was amazing. So that's why everyone's talking about that. And I'm actually already planning on making a video going out into the desert and doing that drill to see, because it's not like we always hear like, oh, most self-defense shootings are within 7 yards and stuff like that. So it's important to remember that's an average. It's not some cosmic law, like this was in a food court. So he was a long distance away, and in a real world situation at 40 yards, 8 out of 10 hits, pretty fucking good.
I would say so, but I also read that wasn't he supporting himself?
He did. He leaned against a column, which was smart. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do in my drills. It's semi-supported, but regardless, it's not shooting at paper either. You know what I mean? Someone shooting back is potentially moving.
Right.
So it's
People
excellent
everywhere.
work by that kid.
Mhm.
Oh, 100%. If this was Canada, nobody's armed here, so it would just be, 40
massacre.
people dead and,
Yeah, exactly. However many bullets he had.
yeah,
But yeah, he did a fantastic job. So I'm going to go. So his name was Elijah Dickin. So I'm going to call the drill the Deep Dickin because it's a distant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it.
The Deep Dickin drill, or long Dickin style, however you want to.
I might have to try that at the range sometime this week and see.
Yeah, 40 yards is no joke for
Oh, it's
9mm
difficult.
pistol. Yeah,
Yeah, I
especially
got
if you're used to shooting 7 yards or whatever, it'll seem like a sniper shot.
Well, definitely, because I shoot gongs. They got falling plates, and pretty
Yeah.
much anything past 15 meters, it's like you're really
Yeah,
trying to do
and
it now.
it's sort of. I don't think he had a laser. I'm not sure if he had a red dot or like an RMR or anything like that, but I don't even care. That's ridiculous
Hey,
either
man,
way. And
good
if he
on
did
him.
have a sight or an RMR, it probably was not sighted at 40 yards.
Oh,
So
definitely.
he definitely took some skills, some Kentucky windage or however you want to say it. But yeah, I've seen very little info on exact. He's been like trying to lay a little low, declining interviews and stuff. But the news reported it as a Glock. I don't even necessarily trust them to know what a Glock is or not, But they're super common, so I would not be surprised. But if it was, assuming that's all he had was 10 shots that he emptied his gun, that puts him with like a 43X or one of the little ones. You know what I mean? So that's not easy.
Makes it even more challenging.
Like a subcompact. Yeah, that's crazy. Excellent work by him. But even with an RMR or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I'll try that out. Now, it's before someone says, "Oh, Dan, you reached up and just grabbed your Glock off the shelf." I'm in my bug out location in my house. I have a metal door with 2 hard locks, so it's everything is in here is under lock and key. But it's I think I'd definitely like to try that. I also have a Model 92F that I might have to try and see if I can hit that at 45 yards just to try it out, because I don't do a lot of pistol shooting because now in Canada we have a freeze on pistols.
Yeah.
Trudeau, man, he's got to be the biggest. That guy can sell more weapons in a small country than anybody, because apparently when he said there was a pistol freeze, it was 60,000 pistols in 10 days were sold.
Yeah, that's like the Obama gun rush and everything too. Every time people go out and buy them because they think they're going to get banned, which unfortunately it looks like they are banning them up there. So,
who knows, man? It's just crazy.
Yeah, wild stuff, man, wild stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try that drill. And then there's another one I want to do called the Bangkok Rules. If you guys have seen Escape from LA. With Snake Plissken. Yeah. So he like these 4 guys are gonna like shoot him, and he's like, "What do you say we play some Bangkok Rules?" And they spread out, and he picks up a can and is like, "No one draws till this hits the ground." So that's the game. So he throws the can up, and they all look up, and when they're looking up, he goes boom, 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 and shoots all 4 of them. So but that's like at 7 yards. So I want to set up 4 targets at 7 yards and try to hit them all before that can hits the ground.
Wow.
The Bangkok
and
Rules
then he
drill.
says draw.
Yeah, exactly. Then the can lands and he's draw.
Snake Plissken.
It's awesome. Like, I heard you were dead.
That is quite interesting.
Yeah. So those are some drills. But yeah, 45 or it's 40 yards is what I heard, not 45. But
still,
yeah, not 8 out of 10 hits on a real world situation at 40 yards with a 9mm pistol. Pretty damn good.
What was his grouping? Are we talking?
No, he had some arm hit, all torso range. It looked like I said, I don't know all the details. They had photos of the dead shooter that I've seen, and there was at least 1 or 2 arm hits. So I'm saying any hit would count in this situation. I would say if you're hitting the person, the shooter, that I don't care if it's a knee or whatever, like that would be good in my book. But taking them out. So as long as they hit, but I'm gonna go. I have the steel torso target. It's like a full size torso. So that's gonna be for my drill. That's what I'm gonna use. And it's about someone my size just totally facing you. It's about that big. So
Now, did he just mag dump like 10 rounds?
that's what I'm
rapid
assuming.
fire?
But like
Or
I
was
said, they said all I know is he shot 10 times and hit 8. So I don't know if he had a full mag of like a full size Glock and only shot 10 times, or if he dumped a 43X or something like that.
Gotcha.
So,
well,
I'm assuming the guy's not going to be still standing after 8 hits. So like,
yeah, definitely. Even,
you know,
did he have body armor? Like,
no, he didn't have anything, luckily. So he had like a chest rig with like, or some kind of belt with like 4 mags in it, but it wasn't any ballistic protection.
Wow, that's quite that is quite impressive.
Yeah. So I mean, the grouping was probably like 18 inches. So I mean, if you're talking about all the shots, but like I said, any hit in that situation is great. It's gonna mess up their day. This isn't like a movie bad guy. It's some addled 21-year-old or whatever who's off his meds or on too many meds or whatever. So if you hit him in the arm or something, that's gonna mess up their plans.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's gonna hurt. It's definitely gonna hurt. Or probably the first couple rounds that impacted in his chest was like, whoa.
So it's probably game over. Yeah, exactly.
What's happening?
Yeah. Oh, this wasn't the plan.
This wasn't in the plan. People are armed. This is garbage.
Yeah, and it was so awesome. It's been 15 seconds of him his first shot. Some other kid just trying to eat some chicken nuggets in the food court ends up greasing him from 40 yards. I love it.
Wow, amazing stuff, man. I wish Canada was like that, but unfortunately,
yeah, they had just passed constitutional carry in Indiana. Like, he didn't have a concealed carry permit per se. They had just authorized constitutional carry within like a couple months or weeks before that. So he just decided to go into the food court with his girlfriend. Decided, I guess I'll carry my gun today. Ended up saving dozens of lives.
Amazing.
I think I if I won the lottery out here in Canada, it'd be something I'd definitely like to maybe move to the States and have that, because you guys treat your veterans a lot better out in the States than they do here in Canada. So
for now, that's a relatively recent thing. Like, post Vietnam and everything is a lot different, but after the global war on terror thing, that had become a trend, which was good.
Right. Yeah, I just think it'd be great to kind of live out there, and I know the work that I do, it's big in the States as well. So, but I think it'd be fun to get out there. I think my wife would probably want to go to Nashville or something like that because she liked that TV show. It's probably
Nashville's growing huge. It's getting expensive to buy places out there.
Well, what's expensive?
But you can go all over. I mean, I don't know about by Canadian standards, but yeah, compared to like just other parts of Tennessee, it would be very, very expensive.
Gotcha. What would you say is the cheapest place in the States to live, and you can have open carry permit?
Well, lots of states have open carry now, so I'd have to look at which states actually have. I mean, almost every state has shall issue concealed carry, and a lot of them have. Let me see, because that's something like Ohio probably, but I don't know of open carry states. I don't have it all memorized which ones. Let me see.
What? An American that doesn't have open
There's a lot
carry
of states.
memorized?
They're all far away. Let me see. Open carry map. Because in Ohio, you can still get houses for $50,000 and stuff in certain areas.
Oh man,
but there's a lot. There's a lot of rural areas that are super cheap.
I think I want an old missile silo and just turn it into a wonderful house, and it'd be great. But
or maybe like one of those dominatrix dungeons.
Ooh, don't tempt me with a good time.
Nationwide status of handgun open carry. No permit needed in 30 states. Yeah, so Ohio or somewhere in like Mississippi or Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, any of those you can find stuff. And obviously out here, like in Nevada and Idaho, and if you want to go out in the wilderness, you can get stuff dirt cheap too. But yeah, those southeastern states would be the cheapest for sure with open carry.
Oh,
and then Ohio too and stuff. But yeah, like I said, you can still find houses that are under 100,000 easy. They're just going to be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, well, it happens.
But that's might be nice.
Well, hey, you never know, right? It's I guess really depend on the wifey.
And it's been recent. Like I remember, even in Florida is kind of unique because even though it's down south there, it's relatively densely populated compared to those other southern states. And since it has all the coast and everything, it's a lot more expensive. But I was in like north central Florida, and no, how many years? It's almost 10 years ago now, I guess. But I bought my house for $112,000.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I got a 4-level split, and I was lucky 10 years ago. I paid $230 right now. So I got another at least half owing on it in 10 years. So, but yeah, it's I'm pretty happy with it. Like, it's a pretty small area that I live in. You know, we only got about 60,000 people around here.
That's not bad. Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those things you can't. There's so many rules and regulations out here in Canada, so it's sucks. But
I know that's the crappy part. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? It'll be the apocalypse. You know,
right, and then it doesn't matter.
Fuck rules. You know,
exactly.
Eat my Rice Krispie squares every day. You know, having a good
Poop
time.
whenever you want to.
Oh yeah, neighbor's house, yard, and stuff would be great.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. That's just my thing there. It's who knows. Things may change. It may not.
Yeah.
But what's your prediction? When are we all going to be eating crickets? You know.
Well, like I said, there's always, you can notice a trend, and then where it would be if something continues, and that's always how these things are couched. It's like, well, if this trend continues, then in this amount of time, this is going to be but that's kind of similar to saying, like, when I throw a baseball and you see it going up, you're like, if this trend continues, this is going to go into space. And it's like, there's always forces that come in to counteract this stuff. So just like we were talking about Lake Mead, for example, drying out, like, obviously this is a major problem, but it's not just going to all of a sudden run out of water and everyone has to leave Vegas. You know what I mean? It's going to get worse and worse and more expensive, and other alternate means will come up and they'll cut off different things first and then more things later. And it's never just these abrupt changes. But yeah, I mean, I've predicted already, not predicted, but I'm guessing that we're going to start seeing some weird stuff happening later this year in terms of stuff getting expensive and real economic distress. And then where it goes, how bad that gets at that point depends on a lot of things. But I definitely expect some weird stuff to happen over the next 18 months.
Oh, definitely, 100%. And you know what's weird? All these food processing plants are burning down, but all these, you know, mysteriously burning down. But these cricket plants are like popping up, like you know.
Well, someone did burn down like a Bill Gates, like Beyond Meat facility or something. Yeah,
a grocery store, I thought.
Yeah, something like that. Like, but it was one of his like vegan. Yeah, a Bill Gates funded food depot burned to the ground in the Netherlands.
Yeah, bummer.
Yes, so that's like he's one of these people. Like, one of the companies that want to buy up all this land is this weird company that Bill Gates has a $600 million investment in. It's all shady. It's called Picnic. So someone got pissed and burned down one of their warehouses.
Wow, amazing.
And then the Georgia Guidestones. Have you seen that? Someone blew those up.
I was gonna do a GoFundMe to see
to rebuild them.
Rebuild the Georgia Guidestones. Just be the ultimate troll. But
yeah.
Someone already beat me to it.
It should be like the real Georgia Guidestones, though, and just be like a list of redneck 10 commandments.
Yeah. Thou shall fuck your sister.
Instead of, yeah, exactly. Like, get the world in harmony with Natty Light and 4 derelict vehicles in your yard. And balance with nature.
Yeah, one must have at least 7 engines as furniture in your porch. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. A lot of shit's happening, man, and it's
getting weird. What do you think is happening in the 2024 election? I mean, that's so far off; it's hard to see. For me, the big thing is the margin of fraud. Like, we know there's a bunch of shady stuff going on, but it's not to the point where it can't be overcome. So, are they going to increase that, or are they hopefully doing things to try and stymie that? The obvious expectation is that the midterms are going to be a bloodbath for the Democrats. I definitely don't think Biden is going to be running again in 2024. I've heard a prediction, which I agree with this. I think this makes sense. Is it, since they know Biden is a non-starter, he's basically their weekend at burning him right now, propping him up. So they know he's not going to run. So what they're probably going to do is try to use that and saying, oh, look what happens when you elect old people, and try to use that to prevent Trump, because Trump's not that old, but he's 5 years younger or something. So they're going to try to use that to disqualify Trump and Bernie Sanders to get their approved like Democrat person in, whoever that is, whether it's Gavin Newsom or Pete Buttigieg or whatever his name is. So that makes sense. I don't know if it's going to work, but they're definitely going to be like, oh, look what happens when you get old people. Now Trump's old, so we shouldn't get him.
How far do you think we're going to be like the movie Idiocity? I don't know if you've ever
Idiocracy, hell yeah.
seen Idiocracy, yeah.
Yeah. I would elect Camacho Jones for president right about now.
Well, hang on a second. I've never seen it. What's this?
What?
Idiocracy?
All right, so it's a fantastic movie. It's supposed to be a comedy, but at this point it's more like a
reality.
Yeah, reality. It's like a documentary. So this guy who's in the army and is selected for a test because he's so perfectly average. Like everything about him is average. He's exactly average intelligence, average everything. So he gets tested for this like freezing, the cryogenic freezing. He's supposed to be frozen for a year, but he ends up getting frozen for 500 years. And because all the stupid people have been having way more kids, that he wakes up being the smartest person in the world.
How are we going to get the crops to grow?
Yeah, they're trying to water crops with this Gatorade stuff called Brondo.
Brondo has electrolytes.
It's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. And he's like, yeah, but what are electrolytes? And they're like, I'm pretty sure plants need water. And they're like, you mean what's in the toilet? They're like, I ain't never seen no crops grow out of no toilet.
It is. Shay, you have to watch it, man.
You gotta watch it.
I don't know.
Yeah, so and it shows evolution over the years of all these companies, and like the restaurant Fuddruckers eventually becomes butt fuckers because it just totally morphs.
He's like everybody's just so fucking stupid. He's in prison.
Yeah.
He's like the jail guard's like, hey, where are you going? He's like, I'm getting out today.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm in the wrong line. I'm supposed to be getting out. I'm like, oh, stupid. And they're like, and he just walks out.
All right. I gotta Google this now.
Yeah, Idiocracy. It's by the same guy who did King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead and as Mike Judge and Office Space. The same guy who did Office Space, Mike Judge. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mike Judge.
Yeah. So Idiocracy, definitely got to watch. Must watch.
Let's see if I can pull this up.
2006. Maybe we should veer back to the preparedness discussion.
Yeah. For a few more minutes that we got left.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got some footage here.
But I definitely think people should be getting, because like I said, I know some people have said they don't think that we'll have food shortages in the U.S. And like I said, while that strictly may be true in terms of supply and over the country averaged out per person, there's going to be lots of localized issues with transportation and processing and all the other stuff that can happen that's related to not just growing the food, but getting it to you and everything. So definitely stock up. And at the very least, we know everything's gonna be more expensive next year. So just anything you use that can last a year or two sitting on a shelf, just buy as much of it as you can now. And that's at the very least 10, 20, 30% money saved, and probably going to be stuff that you can't even get for certain points of time. So that's what I recommend.
Flour, sugar, salt.
I don't do any baking, so I like the finished products.
Well, Dan's going to be making lots of muffins.
Yeah, lots of Rice Krispie treats or whatever those are. Don't forget to stock. Yeah, don't forget to stock up on your Rice Krispie treats and your marshmallows.
Hey, buddy, I got 4 boxes from 2020. I'll be good.
I like it.
But it's everyone thinks, oh fuck, times are good now. I'll buy it later, and then that the great toilet paper war of 2021.
And that's what I keep telling. Like that happened even when there was no supply issues, because of people being worried. So imagine if there are minor, moderate, or even severe supply chain issues, and then you also have people becoming worried and trying to hoard stuff. Then a problem that wouldn't have been an issue in terms of food supply can become a problem.
Oh, it's crazy. It's wait, look how we treat each other on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Or, it's what happens when the food runs out.
Right. When people are actually worried about their lives.
Yeah. Oh my God. It is going to be, anything that's in my salt gun, it's going to be, worth its weight in gold.
Yep.
Well, look at, we live in a society that's progressively becoming more incompetent for the most part. Look at, there's good people out there. They do good deeds unnoticed all the time. I certainly don't want to paint that picture, but at the same time, we need to have signs at the end of the road when you get up to your set of lights off the highway, and to say, no, don't dump your garbage here. People can't put a shopping cart back. So Guys, I hear you. It's just going to get worse, and I'm same lineage of thought, Dan. I feel like I need to. I would say leave the country necessarily, but I gotta get a like have a second plan, like a yacht or something to just.
Yeah, I'm really wishing I had a couple acres somewhere where I could grow a bunch of stuff. So maybe I do. I am expecting in the short to medium term, before any sort of like massive inflationary melt up, that there could be a crash of real estate and stocks and stuff that could make stuff cheaper. So if by some miracle I'm in a position to have any extra money, I'll try to look around at that point.
What about okay, fair enough, but you got experience with aquaponics. Why not?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be more feasible? Because you're in a harsh like growing environment. I don't know what I would grow in Vegas.
Yeah, there's not much that grows here naturally. That's what I mean. And I would talk about acreage somewhere else, not here.
Sure, but like out of the basement or anything to do aquaponics?
There's not really basements out here.
Oh, you guys don't have base rights.
I mean, you can, like in Florida, you definitely couldn't just because of the water. Here you could, but there's so much like a hard rock base that it's just, there's no reason to, and it would take a lot of work to like chisel down in and dig out a
gotcha. 10-4.
Dig out a basement for no reason. But
well,
cool.
you know,
10-4.
I know we didn't do the celebrity one, which I know Shay is really.
Well, I asked you guys before the show. I said, "What celebrity you guys want to do?" Nobody.
For some reason my brain was being stupid and thought you were talking about like a guest, like who do you want to get on? And that's why I was talking about the other guy that we may have on here later.
Gotcha.
But I totally spaced on the.
All good. What does the audience say? What does Lady T Survival say? Which celebrity should we? Let's plant the seed now. So
for next week. Would they survive the apocalypse?
Would they survive the apocalypse? The three preppers are going to
we can get some nominations.
Yeah, let's see. What do they come up with? Maybe nobody gives a shit. Everybody's just chatting on their own here.
Guess we've gone past the hour. Everyone's
Tell you
left.
what? Okay, the next person to comment a celebrity that all three of us know and agree with. Bert. Okay, not Bert.
That's a fictional character. Yeah,
that's right. Are you guys?
And he would definitely survive. Give me a break. He's like the quintessential prepper.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That guy owns more firearms than the army.
Yeah. For sure.
Nobody wants to do this.
All right. Well, we'll come up with one for next time. Not sure exactly when our next one will be. We'll iron it out. I'm going to be gone next weekend, so I know I can't do that.
Are you gone next weekend? Okay.
Yes.
So maybe 2 weeks from now.
But 2 weeks from now, yeah.
Maybe, I'll tell you what. We'll give it 60 seconds. Just give us some celebrity, any celebrity. We're gonna
of which like we've done the would
what's the question?
Keanu Reeves survive the apocalypse, or would Daniel Radcliffe, like who do you want to do next? We've done Jared Leto, so just whoever.
Right. What celebrity in your estimation? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. There's a bit of a Johnny Depp, Amber Heard.
Oh yeah, we gotta do Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard is it?
Amber Heard.
Amber Turd.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll do Johnny Depp too to make up for.
Yeah, we'll do the compare and contrast.
Beautiful.
I'll tell you what, because all the shit in the bed from Amber Heard I could use for fertilizer for my garden. So,
but they can just shit somewhere else. It doesn't have to be in the bed.
Well, it'd be her bed, by the garden.
Yeah.
And, because she's on a collar. And
yeah, that's a whole new level of, they always had I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. Yeah. What about for literally shitting on your pillow? Like I can dust some crackers off. That's no big deal. I'll eat in bed. I don't care. But shitting is
well, as long as it's her side of the bed, I guess. But
there's no sides when there's a pile of shit on there.
Yeah, good point.
I got to stay out of that conversation. Whatever you guys all that nonsense. Yes.
Come on.
Yeah. So Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard for who would survive longer. That's what we'll do next time. That's it.
Beautiful. We'll do a dual hit. Exactly. Yeah. Independently, we'll do like the math between the two of them.
Right. Like which one would last.
Amazing.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. That was goodness. We're like an hour and 10 minutes, so I'll call it.
All right, gentlemen. Yeah.
But it was fun.
You guys in 2 weeks.
Yep.